I'm going to talk to you today about a new way to shop for and purchase Medicare supplement insurance. So most of you listening are over on this side of the chart where you have original Medicare. You're on Part A and Part B of Medicare, and then you have a separate individual Part D drug plan, and then you have an individual Medicare supplement policy. This is what we're talking about today on this video, is your Medicare supplement insurance. Now, some of you are over on this side of the chart, which is called Medicare Advantage Part C. And that's where you're receiving your Medicare through a private insurance company. And today we're not going to be going over this. It's not with this video. That's a later video. So moving over here to Part A, Part B, Part D, and your Medicare supplement, or sometimes it's called Medigap insurance, there's a huge difference in the pricing of this stuff. And a lot of consumers, maybe even you, are not aware of this. So what we've got over here on this side of the chart is a simplification of one of these. And what this is a report that lists the price of every single insurance company that offers Medicare supplement in your zip code. And what you really need to do as a result of this video is get a hold of one of these. Now, what we're showing up here is the Plan F and the Plan G. You say, well, what are those? Well, half the people in this country that have a Medicare supplement, over half, have the Plan F. So it's the most popular. It also has the best benefits. It's followed very closely by the G, and the G is very similar to the F. So we're going to keep this video just talking about the two most popular plans. There's actually 10 of them, and they're lettered from A, B, C, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times when people want to get away from these comparisons, they'll start talking to you about D plans or some other type of plan. So we're going to focus today on the Plan F and the Plan G. For those of you that have Medicare supplements, pretty good chance that you got one of the two of these. And the example that we have is a 70-year-old female who doesn't smoke, who's single, and she's in a Richmond zip code. And these rates are going to be the same for all of Richmond, south of Richmond, and all the way west for the greater part of Virginia. If you live in Northern Virginia, or you're out in the Norfolk area, you're going to pay about 10% more, and that's pretty consistent across the chart. So, but also if you have a household discount, if you have a partner, you're going to get a discount. So these rates are just for comparison, but what I really want you to focus on is the difference in what all these companies charge for exactly the same thing. Now, if we just look at the Plan F, and you look, the least expensive company, we've got Americo at $121.54 a month for this lady. And it really, if you just go on down and you go to the company charging the most, $236.97 a month, it's almost double for exactly the same thing. And people say, well, how is that? Why is this? How can they do that? And it's not really our problem to solve today. It just is. And so a lot of these folks, it might be you, are paying too much, and you're doing that because you're just limiting your source of information to the one company you're dealing with. You're not looking at comparison rates, and you'd have no reason to, because most Medicare supplement consumers are very happy with what they got. You know, if you got a Plan F, it pays most everything in addition, you know, with Medicare coordinating. So people are generally happy, but they're lulled to sleep with their substantial savings. So, I mean, I'm looking here, and a lot of folks don't want to go with a company they've never heard of before. But, you know, we put some options up here like Aetna. People have heard of them. Cigna, AARP, United Healthcare. We represent most of the companies, and certainly when you get a hold of one of these reports, there's 50 companies from top to bottom. Now, if I'm listening to this and you really want, you know, my advice is I would think about changing from a Plan F to a Plan G, because there's very little difference between the two. The only difference is on the Plan G, it doesn't cover the Part B deductible, and it's about $20 a month less. sometimes 25, 30 bucks a month less. So right there, you got a pretty significant savings. And then I would look to reducing my costs by changing to some of these very well-known companies, and they're going to pay exactly the same. So the real focus is you need to get a hold of one of these. Now, it could be that the money that you save could be a down payment or a start of paying a premium for long-term care insurance. I'm not going to try to sell you long-term care insurance today on this video, nor am I going to outline it. That'll be in a later video, but I will tell you this, is that people that purchase long-term care insurance do it because they love their family and they don't want their family members having to take care of them or put their lives on hold when they're not able to take care of themselves. So how do you go about getting one of these? I mean, number one, you can give us a call, get on the phone. We're relatively harmless. We're not going to harass you with phone calls. If you want to go on our website, cardinalguide.com, you can get a hold of one of these reports. You don't even have to tell us who you are. You can go on there. There's a rate calculator, pretty simple to figure out. And you can run a report on yourself with your right age and zip code, and you can just see this whole disparity. I've published a couple of books on the subject of Medicare and other subjects, talk about your IRA and minimum distributions and estate planning, dental insurance. I mean, it's all in these books, and you can find them on Amazon. You also can get to Amazon through our website. You also can just give us a call. We'll be glad to get a copy of the book out to you. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about responding, because you can hit that button down there that says get quote or get information, and I just want to let you know that you can do that safely. I know there's a lot of organizations. You're going to be giving us your phone number and your email address, and I just want to let you know that we're going to hold that information very confidential. I know there's organizations that sell that information to other people. We're an insurance agency licensed in the state of Virginia. We don't do that, and I just give you my word that your information is safe, and we're not going to call and harass you with phone calls or fill up your email address with a whole bunch of stuff. So my name is Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.